Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Steins, but before I actually go into the game, this live area is weirding me out a bit because you've been introduced to more male characters than you have female characters like the hour that I've been playing this for, and for some reason there's nothing but girls on the live area. I'm not entirely sure what that's about, but we'll just go right into the game anyway. So those of you who know me, and by the way, that flashing down the bottom left, there really isn't as bad as it looks like it is on this video. Those of you who know me know how I do my videos. I usually do first impressions. I play a game for an hour or two, or maybe a little bit longer, depending on whether or not it's an RPG. And then I play the game on film, and I describe what my my dislikes of the game are. Steins Gate, however, doesn't really work that well in that setting. So, the idea is that Steins Gate is a visual novel, so the main function of it, the main good thing about it that has to be good, is the story, and the story is something you really can't get a grasp on, especially in a 40 or 50 hour long visual novel, which is around the length of Steins Gate. You can't usually get that in about an hour, so this video is going to be a little different. I'm mainly going to be looking around the menus and seeing how comfortable it is to play Steins Gate, which is the case of simply being able to sit back and you enjoy yourself. If there's any technical errors, if there's anything like that. Because this game, you know, you're going to have to be sitting down and just reading text for a while, right? So I just want to make sure that that's as comfortable as possible. I feel like that's more valuable coming from someone like me in comparison to playing it for like 5 hours and then taking a guess on what the rest of the game's like based on those 5 hours. So we're just going to make our way to the configuration screen first before we actually head into the game. And we've got a bunch of different options here, including controller type. I actually like Type B better, but I'll be keeping it on Type A for the purpose of demonstration, even though you can't really see what buttons I'm pressing, so it doesn't really matter. Also, I don't really know what use the touchscreen actually does, because I've tried tapping and it doesn't actually move any messages forward, so I don't know exactly what that does. You've got message speed, but just so you know, you have to move the meter and then you have to press X in order to actually confirm it. I had a little bit of trouble with that. And you've also got your auto mode wait time and your skip mode option, which is quite nice. Then if we change the page, we've got separate audio sliders, which is fantastic because sometimes people want to listen to the voice acting more, sometimes people like the background music better, and having the options here is great. You've also got voice synchronization. You can even skip the voice dialogue, which I don't know why you would do that, but alright. And you can even change the individual volume of everyone. So it's like if you don't like anyone in particular, you can just turn them off, which I actually quite like. You've also got the extra list, which shows you all the different endings that you can unlock, all your tips, and your tips you unlock throughout the game, and I'm sure I'll be able to find some so I can demonstrate how those show up. And you've got a full-on trophy list. So we're just going to load into my game. You've got a quick load option, which is basically an autosave, which will save at like the end of every chapter and all that, and you've also got 60 manual save, 48 manual save slots, I'm sorry, I can't really count. You've also got 48 manual save slots, and in a game like this, where there's multiple different endings, it's good to have this many save slots, because you can just, you know, save how you like, and you can even lock data so you can't accidentally delete it later on, which is neat. So we're going to load my data. Don't know why it's insisting I unlock that, but anyway. So here we go. This is the main screen. The triangle button brings up your phone, but you can only use that at specific times. The square button brings up the menu where you can go check your trophies, your tips, and your configuration screen again. And you can also save like quick save and check your backlog, which unfortunately is clear because I haven't actually done anything on this. So if we just hit select to go into auto mode, we will probably doesn't do anything until we press X to get through to the dialogue scenes. But anyway, so the text is kind of small, I think. I'd like to see a little bit of an option to have more higher contrast text, because sometimes when the backgrounds change, it's kind of hard to read. Hello, my Yuri. You're adorable. Whoops, I have to skip something. Oh well, I can always load it later. And here's a tip. So the tips, see, it's actually quite hard to see up the top. At least in this game, it's actually quite hard to see up the top. It's because this text is so tiny, it scrolls in and leaves the screen so fast, but you do have a shortcut to get to the tips list, and it automatically defaults to your unread tips, so it's nice and comfortable. So yeah, auto mode works pretty well. The one thing I'm kind of annoyed by is that if I'm trying to... Yeah, that's right, son. But... God damn it. But, in any sense... I'm slightly annoyed by how the text slowly scrolls in during the voice cutscenes. Mainly because... Maybe during the voice lines, I should say. Mainly because it scrolls in so slowly no matter what your text speed is. Which is somewhat annoying because if I'm not particularly in the mood for listening to the voice acting... I mean, the voice acting is pretty good, don't get me wrong. I can listen to it. But considering I don't understand Japanese in any way, listening to it is kind of not worth my time sometimes. This is quite a strange scene. I haven't actually seen this. But anyway, if I don't feel like listening to the voice acting, it just scrolls across really slowly. So if I just want to sit back, relax, not listen to anything, and just read for a little bit, can't really do that. Because I read a lot faster than the text scrolls in at the default speed. And for some bloody reason, they've just done it like that. And with the way people speak Japanese, like, it's not... I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but the way Japanese is spoken is that things are done out of order in comparison to your typical English sentence. So, it's just kind of strange because it doesn't actually sync up to what the scrolling text is saying. And there are a couple of other things, like if you're left-handed and you want to be holding it with your left hand, the default control schemes actually let you press down on the D-pad in order to move to the next part of the dialogue, which I actually find to be a really nice feature because I am dominantly left-handed, so it's actually quite nice for me, and also tips on the L button, which is actually quite nice. Also, I just skipped a lot by accident, but never mind. And also, notably, skipping text extremely fast, like amazingly fast. So, if you enjoy skipping stuff, boy, you'll be able to skip a lot. And if your save data gets screwed up, you'll probably only be holding it for a few minutes. It's definitely nice. So it's not bad. However, there is one problem I've found, which I can't actually display with a mobile phone. Oh, there it goes. Never mind. So yeah, now I can actually show you the mobile phone. Now, this is meant to be your main wallpaper, but then it changes to a completely different wallpaper, which is actually the default wallpaper. Or at least, well, not the default wallpaper, but it's a hell of a lot closer than the other one. But the weird thing is, when you go to change your wallpaper, it asks you if you want to set it as your ringtone. Which is weird. That's just a tiny thing that kind of confused me at first, because I assumed it was going to change this screen here as well, this blue screen, but no, it only changes that. So it's actually kind of confusing. You've also got your mailbox, which lets you reply to people, and that text is actually kind of hard to read because of the way the words wrap around. Yeah, I have no idea what that's meant to be. And you can also check what emails you've sent. But, yeah, it's a little strange. It's kind of hard to read because of the way the words wrap. And you've also got your address book, and you can call people and respond to people when it gives you the option. It's not a bad port, and it's nice and comfortable. And the artwork is obviously quite nice on the Vita screen, and I mean, I'm playing it on a slim Vita, and the colors do stand out, and it's really well drawn, and it's nice to look at. It isn't that... I don't mean to say stereotypical anime style, but I don't really know. It's just... It's a little bit different from what I'm used to when I note, like, Japanese media, and it's nice. It's nice to look at. And the speech animates quite nicely and all that. So yeah, it's definitely a nice... It's a nice experience. I guess that's the word I'm going for. At least in the first hour or so. When calls come in, up in the top left, it's actually quite visible, so you won't miss anything when it comes to phone calls or anything. So you won't miss anything like that. So it's nice. A couple of tiny things they could do to fix. Like, the text could be... there could be a high contrast mode for the text. The word wrapping in the cell phone is weird. And the tiny text across the top whenever a hint comes in is a little bit annoying. But otherwise, it's not that bad. And I really should have gotten this out 3 weeks ago. And I'm sorry, but I've just been really busy and my health hasn't been fantastic. So, yeah. It's a nice version, nice port. I'm not gonna shit on it too much. See, look, now I've got a mail, random girl for some reason, and I can go and check my mail if I can just... Oh, for some reason it won't actually let me open my phone now. That's a little annoying. I don't know who the hell this is, but anyway. That was a quick look. There we go. That was a quick look at this version of Steins Gate for Vita. It works fine. Does what it needs to. Not much else to it, really. As for the story itself, well, it's 30 to 40 hours long, and I'm not going to be able to get through that in the next couple of months, mainly due to the amount of game releases that are going to be coming out, and me finding the time, the motivation, and the energy to sit down and play through a 40-hour visual novel is going to be kind of way out of my, my ability. But nevertheless, it's still good. So if you wanted to buy it, you might as well. It's a fairly good version. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.